hear? Huh? Did you hear? The prowler struck again last night at the Stamon's house.
With all those patrols out, Rommel couldn't have gotten through.
Remember that cartoon family that looked suspiciously like All in the Family, but animated? Wait Till Your Father Gets Home wasn't just Hanna-Barbera's first primetime sitcom.
Wait till your father gets, until your father gets, wait till your father gets home.
It was a desperate attempt to prove cartoons could tackle Vietnam, women's lib, and generation gaps for adult audiences.
I'm getting a job. I've realized I'm not happy.
But you cook for me, sew for me, look after me? How can you not be happy?
Today, we're counting down 20 shocking facts about the animated family that tried to be edgy and got canceled for being too safe. 20. It was created to cash in on All in the Family. Hanna-Barbera created Wait Till Your Father Gets Home as a direct animated response to All in the Family's massive success. Norman Lear's groundbreaking sitcom proved audiences craved socially relevant comedy, addressing contemporary issues. Hanna-Barbera pitched their show as All in the Family with Drawings, a conservative father clashing with his liberal children over 1970s culture wars.
He slept in the motel room, and I slept in the car. I don't know why I have to make all these explanations to my own children.
The Boyle family mirrored the Bunkers almost exactly. Harry Boyle was Archie Bunker, his hippie son, Chet, was Mike, and conflicts centered on politics, generational differences, and changing social values. The concept was so transparently derivative that TV critics immediately called it an All in the Family ripoff. 19. Tom Bosley voiced the lead character. Harry Boyle was voiced by Tom Bosley.
No, you won't, Pete. I'm dropping charges. We can't be any better winners than we are.
Who would become famous 5 years later as the beloved father on Happy Days. Recording Wait Till Your Father Gets Home.
So I started in that venue playing older parts until I got to be about 30 and all of.
While simultaneously performing in Broadway productions, Bosley brought theatrical training to voice acting that elevated the material beyond typical cartoon performance.
You may not think it to look at her, but she can spell.
His Harry Boyle was genuinely frustrated and confused rather than cartoonishly angry, creating surprising emotional depth. Bosley later admitted he took the voice acting job purely for money during a slow theatrical period.
They gave us one more year, so we were pretty much prepared for the end of the show. It was no great surprise to us.
And never watched the completed show, calling it forgettable work that paid my rent. 18. The show aired against the Waltons and got destroyed. NBC scheduled Wait Till Your Father Gets Home on Thursday nights at 8:30 p.m. directly against CBS's The Waltons, one of television's highest-rated family dramas. This was programming suicide. The wholesome Walton family attracted the exact demographic that might have watched an animated sitcom,
How would you feel if you were only a trade-in on a python?
leaving minimal available audience. The show averaged only 15% audience share compared to The Waltons' 35% share. Industry analysts called the scheduling decision inexplicably stupid, since the show had zero chance competing in that time slot. NBC later admitted the scheduling was intentionally bad. They wanted the show to fail quickly to terminate their contract with Hanna-Barbera. 17. It was television's first animated primetime sitcom. Wait Till Your Father Gets Home was the first animated series specifically created for primetime adult audiences since The Flintstones ended in 1966.
How'd you like the room, honey?
It's perfectly wonderful.
You hear that? She even...
This 6-year gap represented the animation industry's consensus that primetime cartoons were commercially unviable. Hanna-Barbera gambled that 1970s social relevance could revive the format where prehistoric parody had failed. The show featured contemporary issues: Vietnam War protests, marijuana use, women's liberation, racial integration, and sexual revolution. This adult-oriented content was revolutionary for animation, but made sponsors nervous. Many advertisers refused to buy commercial time, fearing association with controversial content would damage their family-friendly brand images. 16. The animation budget was criminally low. Each 22-minute episode cost approximately $35,000 to produce, less than half the budget of typical live-action sitcoms.
Jamie keeping Petey.
Ugh, that mouse?
Why the
This extreme cost-cutting forced laughably limited animation. Characters barely moved, mouth movements didn't sync properly with dialogue, and backgrounds were reused constantly. Entire conversations featured static characters with only mouths animated. Walk cycles were recycled dozens of times per episode. The cheap animation undermined the show's attempt at sophisticated adult comedy. Audiences struggled to take social commentary seriously when delivered through crude, jerky animation that looked cheaper than Saturday morning children's cartoons. Critics specifically cited the terrible animation quality as evidence Hanna-Barbera didn't respect adult audiences. 15. The show featured real 1970s political debates. Episodes tackled genuine controversial topics: draft dodging, buzzing for school integration, the Equal Rights Amendment, marijuana legalization, and environmentalism.
What troubles?
You'll be safe in Canada.
Canada? I don't want to go to Canada.
Writers attempted balanced perspectives. Harry represented conservative viewpoints while his children argued liberal positions, with neither side portrayed as completely right or wrong. This ideological even-handedness frustrated both conservative and liberal viewers, who wanted their perspectives validated rather than debated.
There's no room for sentiment.
Sure, why put up with aggravation? That should apply to everything.
Oh.
Episode 18 showed Harry and Chet arguing about Vietnam with legitimate points on both sides, ending without clear resolution. Audiences hated ambiguous conclusions, expecting sitcoms to provide moral clarity and comfortable resolutions rather than uncomfortable questions about divisive issues. 14. The daughter character kept changing personalities. Alice Boyle, the teenage daughter, had wildly inconsistent characterization across episodes because different writers couldn't agree on her personality.
How can you watch TV and do your homework at the same time?
It's easy, Papa. The homework isn't that distracting.
Some episodes portrayed her as boy crazy and vapid, others as politically engaged and feminist, still others as athletic and tomboyish. Voice actress Tina Holland recorded contradictory character motivations and never understood who Alice actually was. This inconsistency resulted from no series Bible or character documentation. Writers made up personalities, episode by episode, without coordination. Modern showrunners would consider this catastrophic creative malpractice. But 1970s animation production operated chaotically, with minimal oversight or narrative consistency expectations. 13. NBC demanded the show be less controversial. After the first season, NBC executives insisted episodes tone down political content, specifically banning topics about abortion, homosexuality, and religious differences. The network wanted safe controversy, appearing edgy without risking advertiser alienation. The second season featured noticeably blander content, satisfying nobody and accelerating cancellation. 12. The neighbor character was completely pointless. Ralph Kane, the liberal neighbor, existed solely to argue with conservative Harry. Beyond this mechanical function, he had no personality or backstory. Writers eventually realized the character was unnecessary. Harry's children provided sufficient ideological conflict. Ralph essentially disappeared without explanation, highlighting how poorly he'd been conceived. 11. The dog never did anything. Julius, the family dog, appeared in nearly every episode, but served absolutely no narrative function. He didn't talk, lacked personality, and rarely interacted meaningfully with characters. His presence was purely visual, filling empty background space. Julius represents the show's creative bankruptcy, including elements purely from sitcom convention. 10. Episodes were written in 3 days. Individual episode scripts were written in approximately 3 days from assignment to final draft, an impossibly compressed timeline guaranteeing poor quality. Writers received premises Monday, delivered first drafts Wednesday, and submitted finals Friday. The rushed writing showed immediately. Jokes fell flat. Character motivations made no sense. Conflicts resolved abruptly. 9. Voice recording happened before animation was planned. Unlike modern animation, the show recorded all dialogue before any animation planning began. Actors performed scripts without knowing what visual action would accompany their lines. The result was constant mismatch. Characters sounded excited while standing motionless, or calm while supposedly running, making the show feel technically incompetent. 8. The theme song changed 3 times. The show had 3 completely different opening themes across its 2-season run. These changes weren't creative evolution. They were desperate rebranding attempts.
I love my mom and dad and my brothers too, and the groovy way we get along.
Network executives believed the wrong theme song prevented audience connection. The constant changes confused viewers and prevented the show from establishing iconic musical identity. 7. Sponsors pulled out. Mid-season, major advertisers, including Chevrolet and Coca-Cola, withdrew sponsorship during the first season after receiving complaint letters about controversial content. Episode 12's marijuana discussion sparked outrage from conservative groups threatening boycotts. The sponsor exodus created a financial crisis. Slashed budgets made the show financially unsustainable, regardless of ratings. 6. The show was syndicated before being canceled. In an unusual move, Wait Till Your Father Gets Home entered syndication while still producing new episodes for NBC primetime. Local stations aired first-season reruns in afternoon time slots, while second-season episodes premiered in primetime. This created bizarre situations where viewers saw episodes out of order, or watched the same episodes multiple times in the same week. The premature syndication was driven by Hanna-Barbera desperately trying to recoup production costs from a show already obviously failing. However, syndication performance was also terrible. Most stations buried the show in low viewership time slots, and many dropped it after their initial contracts expired. 5. Critics called it the worst of both worlds. Television critics universally panned the show for being simultaneously too adult for children and too juvenile for adults. Animation quality was too crude for adults, while subject matter was too complex for kids. Time magazine called it a show with no audience, too boring for kids, too poorly made for adults. 4. Foreign distribution was a complete failure international. Broadcasters rejected the show because specifically American political references, Vietnam draft dodging, racial integration debates, women's liberation made no sense abroad. The few countries that aired it heavily edited content, removing political discussions and leaving nonsensical generic plots. Hanna-Barbera lost millions in anticipated foreign revenue. 3. The final episode wasn't intended as a finale. NBC canceled the show without warning, simply stopped ordering episodes. No conclusion was written, no storylines resolved. The last episode aired as an ordinary installment with no acknowledgement of ending. Tom Bosley discovered cancellation when his agent asked why residual checks stopped arriving. 2. It killed Hanna-Barbera's primetime animation ambitions. The show's spectacular failure convinced Hanna-Barbera to abandon primetime animation for adults and return exclusively to children's Saturday morning programming for nearly 2 decades. Industry-wide, it reinforced beliefs that primetime animation was commercially impossible, delaying serious adult animation until The Simpsons premiered in 1989. 15 years later, 1. It proved animation couldn't just copy live-action success. The show demonstrated successful live-action formats that don't automatically translate to animation. Copying All in the Family's premise completely missed what made that show work: brilliant writing, exceptional performances, emotional authenticity. Animation added nothing. It only subtracted production value, teaching the industry cartoons needed different strategies entirely. Wild Facts, proving Wait Till Your Father Gets Home, wasn't just a forgotten cartoon. It was a catastrophic miscalculation that demonstrated you can't simply animate all in the family and expect success, no matter how relevant your topics are. The wildest part? A show created specifically to prove animation could tackle adult issues, instead, proved animation needed completely different strategies to succeed in primetime. Now wait till you get to your next video. And remember, sometimes being first to try something just means being first to fail spectacularly while teaching everyone else what not to do.